You walk into the pro shop and the fitting bay is gleaming. The young pro hands you a 7-iron with a head so thin you can almost hear it hum. You swing. The ball rockets off the face. 148 yards on the screen. Your current 7-iron goes 132. The difference is right there in the green numbers. You feel the second wind. You hand over your credit card and drive home with the new set. 6 rounds later, you are standing on a par 3, 145 yards to a front pin. You take your new 7-iron. You flush it. The ball lands short of the green, takes a hop, and rolls 20 feet past the hole. You chip back, two-putt for bogey, and walk off wondering what you paid for. The answer is not what you think. It is not about distance at all. If you are over 55 and you have bought a set of game improvement irons in the last 5 years, I need you to understand something first. You were not sold equipment. You were sold a number. A bigger number than your old clubs. A number that makes you feel like you have not lost a step. But numbers lie, and your scorecard has been paying the price. Here is the conventional wisdom you have heard. Lofts have gotten stronger across the board. A modern 7-iron is basically what a 5-iron was 30 years ago. This is true. Mizuno, TaylorMade, Callaway, Ping, every major brand has dropped their lofts by 4 to 6 degrees over the past 2 decades. Your 2023 7-iron is probably 27 or 28 degrees of loft. That is a late 90s 5-iron. You are not hitting a 7-iron anymore, you are hitting a short 5-iron with a 7 stamped on the sole. Most YouTube reviewers will tell you this is great. More distance, higher launch, tighter dispersion. They will show you the TrackMan numbers and say, technology is closing the gap for aging players. And there is some truth in that. The center of gravity is lower. The faces are hotter. The spin is actually manageable for your swing speed, but nobody talks about what happens when the ball hits the ground. Let me walk you through a cold number from a 2023 TrackMan study. The average amateur golfer over 55 using a modern game improvement, 7-iron delivers a landing angle of 17 degrees. 17. That is a line drive with a tail. You need at least 22 degrees of descent to hold a firm green. The PGA Tour average for a 7-iron is 24 degrees. Your ball is coming in 7 degrees, flatter than a Tour Pro's. That does not sound like much until you are watching your approach shot bounce over the back of the green for the 3rd time in 9 holes. That difference of 7 degrees is the difference between a ball that stops on the first hop and a ball that releases like a putt. If this data is new to you, there is a lot more where this came from. Subscribe to Golf Underground Finance so you keep seeing the numbers the industry does not want you to notice. In the comments, write landing angle if you have ever watched your approach feed over the back edge, or share the descent angle you are hitting right now. Here is the mechanism you are not seeing. When a club maker reduces loft by 2 degrees, the spin drops by approximately 800 revolutions per minute. That is from the University of Golf Equipment study published in early 2022. 800 fewer RPM of spin per 2 degrees. You are probably playing a 4-degree difference from your old set. That is roughly 1600 RPM less spin. Spin is what creates the stopping power. Spin is what pulls the ball down into the turf. Without it, your iron shots land hot and run out. You think you lost your short game. You did not. Your iron lofts are making your short game impossible. Now consider what that does to your scoring average. If you play 20 rounds a year, and you miss the green on 3 par 3s per round because your ball rolls through the back, that is 60 holes where you are scrambling from a bad spot. The leading statistic in handicap differential for players over 55 is proximity to the hole from 100 to 170 yards. That number has gotten worse for the average senior golfer over the last decade, right when equipment was supposed to be improving. The clubs are not helping you from the right distance. They are hurting you from the exact distance you need to score. Here is the uncomfortable clarity. You did not lose your ability to hold greens. Your lofts betrayed you. The system worked because each shot looks fine in the air. It lands. It bounces. You blame the firmness of the greens, or your own misjudgment, or the pin placement. But the truth is sitting in your bag. A 7-iron that flies 148 but releases 10 feet past the hole is not a 7-iron. It is a 5-iron disguise, and you are scoring like you are hitting long irons into every par 3. If you have ever stood over a wedge shot and felt that quiet dread, knowing your approach ball will probably feed toward the collar, you know exactly what I am describing. The emotion is not anger, it is confusion. You bought better numbers and the results got worse. That is the gaslighting of modern iron fitting for the aging player. There is a solution, but it is not what the industry wants you to do. You do not need stronger lofts. You need lofts that match your real descent angle. The best iron set for a 58-year-old with a driver swing speed of 88 miles per hour is probably a set with a 7-iron at 32 degrees of loft. That is a 6-degree difference from what you are probably playing today. You will lose about 12 yards of carry distance, but your landing angle will jump from 17 degrees to 23 degrees. The ball will stop 3 feet from the pitch mark instead of 15. That is the kind of fix that does not show up on a launch monitor highlight reel, but it changes your entire round. If this resonates with you, there's a lot more where this came from. Link in the description. Subscribe to the channel so you catch the deep dives on equipment that actually improves your score. In the comments, type weak lofts if you have ever bent an iron weaker or if you are going to ask your fitter about it next time. The pro shop at a private club in Florida told a 63-year-old member exactly this 2 years ago. He had just bought a set of Ultra Game improvement irons with lofts so strong his 8-iron was 29 degrees. He could not hold the 5th green from 135 for an entire season. They bent his new irons 2 degrees weak. He lost 8 yards of carry. His handicap dropped from 14 to 11 over the next 5 months. He gained nothing on the launch monitor. He gained everything on the scorecard. Here is what changes everything. The next time you go for a fitting, do not look at carry distance alone. Ask for the descent angle on every iron. If your 7-iron lands at less than 21 degrees, do not buy that club. Ask them to bend it 2 degrees weak or move into a model with more traditional lofts. The fitter may push back. The distance numbers will look worse. Ignore that. You are not entering a long drive competition. You are trying to make the ball stop where your eyes told it to stop. Your grandfather played a 7-iron that was 35 degrees. He hit it 130 yards and it landed soft. The game has convinced you that his club was obsolete. It was not. His approach shots held greens in a way that your current equipment cannot. The technology is not helping you there. It is helping the manufacturer sell you a new set every 3 years. The closing piece ties back to the pro shop floor where this started. You saw the green number on the screen and felt the hope. The hope was real. The distance was real. But the mechanical truth of what happens after the ball peaks is something the launch monitor does not show you in that moment. The data is there, but nobody trained the fitter to point at it, because pointing at it loses the sale. The next time you stand in that bay, you will be the one who asks for the descent angle before the sticker price. Subscribe to keep that edge. Every video here gives you one more piece of the real puzzle. In the comments, write fitting trap if you have ever bought a club based on a screen number that did not show up on the course. Now, I want you to do one thing before your next purchase. Pull out your phone and open the Notes app. Write down your current iron lofts. If you do not know them, Google the spec sheet for your model year. Then calculate roughly how many rounds you have played where your approach shot released more than 10 feet past the landing spot. That number is the real cost of the wrong loft, not the price tag, the 3 strokes per round you left on the green. In the next video, I will show you what happens when you apply this same thinking to your driver. The industry has convinced every golfer over 55 that launch angle is the answer. It is not. The answer is spin, and your driver is probably spinning too little for the speed you have left. That is coming. For now, know this. Your 7-iron does not need to fly further. It needs to land softer, and the system sold you the exact opposite. That number is not theoretical. The USGA's own handicap research shows that a player who gains 12 yards of carry but loses 5 yards of stopping power does not score better. They score worse because their proximity to the hole actually increases. You are trading a longer second shot for a longer third shot. That trade never helps the scorecard. The deepest illusion is that you are fighting age. You are not. You are fighting a spec sheet designed to make you feel young in the fitting bay, while your actual scores tell a different story. The marketing machine knows that the moment of purchase is emotional. You want to believe the distance is back. And for one swing, under one set of conditions, it is. But golf is not played in the fitting bay. It is played on firm greens, into wind, from uneven lies, under the pressure of a round that matters. That emotional trip is exactly what keeps the cycle spinning. Subscribe before you walk into your next fitting, so you walk in with the truth, not the hope. In the comments, write Fitting Bay if you have ever felt that rush of numbers and later wondered why your scores did not follow. And if you have not checked the link in the description yet, go do that now. The full breakdown of landing angles for every swing speed is waiting there. When you look at the data from Arcos, the shot tracking system used by hundreds of thousands of amateurs, the pattern is unmistakable. Players over 55 who use irons with lofts stronger than 30 degrees on their 7-iron have a greens in regulation rate that is 6% lower than players with traditional lofts. That is one missed green per round, one extra bogey per round. Over a year of 20 rounds, that is 20 extra bogeys purely from the club choice. The solution is not to abandon modern equipment, it is to use it correctly. The cavity back design, the low center of gravity, the face flex technology. Those are real improvements. They make off-center hits more forgiving. They give you ball speed when you need it, but that technology works best when the loft is correct. A 32-degree 7-iron with modern forgiveness is a weapon. A 27-degree 7-iron with modern forgiveness is a trap. You have been told that the game has passed you by, that you need to accept shorter approach shots that release, that the days of throwing darts ended when you turned 50. That is not true. The truth is that the industry profited from lowering your lofts, and you absorbed the penalty without knowing it. The next time you walk into a pro shop and see that gleaming fitting bay, you will see it differently. You will ask for the descent angle. You will watch the spin number. You will know that the green number on the screen is half the story. The rest of the story happens after the ball hits the ground, and that story belongs to you.